Miles, Miles. These are fantastic. I love the start. I really do. These look like currency. These are wonderful. Now I'm using my imagination because I've read your writing here, so it's clear that these are not complete design. But you've done some really smart things. Some of these security marks that you've added, this is great. I love this. It really shows that you're paying attention, and it really shows that you're really thinking this through to its logical end. Gorgeous work, gorgeous work. I can't wait to see. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, just keep doing what you're doing. A couple of comments. The 50 down here, these are kind of small. Let me move that over so it's not in my face isn't in the way. These are kind of small. So in other words, if you have like plenty of people fold their money, and if this is the side you're looking at, that might be a little bit difficult to see. So your call, though. Like I said, I'm going to let you just take this through to its logical end. I think this symbol right here could be a little larger. This is fantastic, the way that you've created that kind of, love it, just love it. The denominations, one thing, and I'm seeing this in a lot of our examples so far, is that you're really sticking with a monochromatic color scheme. And I'd like to see you introduce more color to the piece. I really would. I think it would be more interesting, number one, in terms of visual interest. And number two, I just think it would help the actual demeanor of the design itself in terms of looking like currency. So think about adding color. Another thing is that you're almost using pastel colors here. And this is another thing I've mentioned a couple of times now. This is currency. It's going to get filthy. So I'm not real sure if a real light colored background is the best idea. Now, Kristen did something really, really interesting to combat that exact problem. Is that in her light background, she's introduced patterns. And I think that's just a fantastic idea. Don't worry about your denominations looking too cluttered. I mean, if you look at currency design, I mean, they're cluttered. It's cluttered. It's for a reason. It's part of it. So in terms of working towards portfolio, I think that you're really right in there. What I want you to do is I mentioned this to Paul earlier in his video, so take a look at that. But what I want to mention is that a lot of times what I do when I'm critiquing student work in studio or in my studio, or if I'm critiquing design work in my studio, or if I'm in class and have a chance to look at the work, if I have the physical work in front of me, I'll turn it upside down, I'll turn it sideways, I'll put it on a wall, walk across the room. I'll look at it from as many different perspectives as I possibly can. Put it on a desk flat, walk over there, see how it looks flat. And one of the things that I saw, and I noticed this, and I mentioned this to Paul as well in his work, is that when I get up, and if I have this just as on screen, the only thing I can really do is get up and walk across the room. So I walk across the room, and these are really drowning out in terms of their visual attributes. And I think the monochromatic backgrounds and those kind of really pastel-y colors are definitely working to wash these into a single color from a distance. Not that anybody's going to be looking for judging money from a distance, but it is a design consideration. Okay, take a look at Kristen's work as well. She's done some really super interesting things in terms of introducing live trace and image trace from Illustrator. Nowhere in this assignment does it say that you can't use image trace. So I didn't share that before because I kind of wanted, I'm not trying to be tricky, but I just kind of wanted to see where the logical progression was going to go. And you did use image trace here. And I think it's smart. And it loans a sense of realism that is very, very, very realistic. It loans a sense of realism that's realistic. That's one of the more brilliant things I've ever said. But you know what I'm saying? It just adds this realism that is remarkable. So think about that with your Porsche, and you probably have already thought about that. This is the emblem for the Autobahn. But the thing is, though, is that you have in this illustration here, you've got this band right here, but the illustration is peeking through that band. So the opacity of the band is such that you can see the illustration right through. Here you don't. So that's an inconsistency that you'll want to consider. Okay. Other than that, I mean, you have the other bills in the example. See all these examples, they use image trace. Every single one of them. Every one of them, bar none, uses image trace. So, and then look at the cool background patterns and note some of the things that these bills have taken into consideration in terms of the little floral motif there, and the sailing ship, and the intricacy of the masts, and things that would allude to the fact that these would be very difficult to counterfeit. And that's one of the things that I think we mentioned several times. And these little seals and emblems that are prevalent in currency design. So, just keep doing what you're doing, man. I think it's going to be great. I'd say if I had a main concern, it would be these soft pastel-y colors. And because honestly, when you move back, you can kind of see they just start kind of getting washed into one. You'll see what I mean when you do that, when you back off of your own computer and see what I'm talking about. All right. Fantastic job, man. Really, really loving what's going on. Any questions, comments, or other? Let me know. Thanks, man.